Okay, Jonathan, I would love for you to tell me the story that you told me earlier today because what you said, your response was so eloquently said, and like I have the world needs to hear this. Go ahead.
Okay, so one day,
Remember, you got 3 minutes, so.
alright, so one day I was walking down the street with Davina, and then this man in his red truck, he literally said, "Yo, what you doing with that white boy?" And I said, excuse me, sir. Technically, if I live in a black family, I'm black. And also, you cannot judge someone by their color, because that's the way they look, and they don't want to change it. Neither can you. So do
Look
not
at, yeah,
judge anyone.
do not judge anyone. So what's basically what you want the world to know?
Do not judge anyone by their color,
That's right.
or be, well, you know the word, to other people.
Exactly.
Racist.
That's right.
And if you do, there will be bad consequences for you in life, and then you will feel bad for the people that you were mean to.
Okay. Well said. Very proud of you, young man.
Thank
Yo, birthday, can I go outside?
I'm a white child and I have a black mama.
I love her very much. They're like, why are you different colors from your mom?
Are both legally the children of Francis Martin. Congratulations. You want to be adopted by Miss Martin today?
Some of the people that we were with were not nice.
They hurt us in ways that we shouldn't touched and hurt, and it was really hard.
After the last return, they had been traumatized so much, I was like, that's it. That's it. They're going to be mine now.
You want me to help you?
We were never cared for in the right way. Cared for us and let us know that we were special to her.
Yes, they are all officially mine.
Hi guys, my name is Kelvin, and you're welcome back to the channel. Have you ever watched something that completely challenged what you've been told your entire life? Because that's exactly what happened when this video started making the rounds online. Instead of another viral confrontation, instead of another story about division, people found themselves watching white children and adults talking about something very different. They weren't talking about fear. They weren't talking about hatred. They weren't talking about regret. They were talking about love. One little boy stopped thousands of people in their tracks with a simple response after someone questioned why he was with his black mother. Instead of becoming angry, instead of feeling embarrassed, he calmly explained that judging people by the color of their skin is exactly what's wrong with society. For someone so young, that message carried more wisdom than many adults managed to express. Then came story after story. Adults who grew up in black homes, people who found family through adoption, children who were welcomed into communities that weren't defined by race but by compassion. Many described finding acceptance during the hardest moments of their lives. Some said they discovered confidence. Others said they discovered purpose. And almost every story shared one thing in common. Love came before race. Now, that doesn't mean every experience was perfect. Many admitted they were questioned. Some were mocked. Some were asked if they belonged. Others said strangers simply couldn't understand how a white child could call a black family mom or dad. But here's what caught my attention. Not one of these people described being taught to hate themselves. Instead, they spoke about respect. They spoke about gratitude. They spoke about community. And that raises a fascinating question. What actually shapes a child's character? Is it race, or is it the values they're surrounded with every single day? Today we're going to look at these stories, why they've resonated with so many people online, and why they remind us that family isn't always defined by biology. Sometimes it's defined by the people who choose to love you.
I saw that you were raised by a black woman. Is that correct?
Most of my homes and group homes were black. Like, I can't say, like, I know I'm white. At the end of the day, I'm white. You see my color? All that. But white people didn't like me. It was really weird. Like, most of the homes that accepted me was black.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood why. I was just like, okay, cool. I never really cared. As long as I was somewhere where there's love. Love has no color. So that woman took me in, and I literally owe her my whole world. Like, I'm gonna give her everything. Like, she took me in when nobody else did, you know? So.
Growing up, my best friend came from a mixed family. Her mom was white, her dad was black, and they had several children together. Her dad was my basketball coach, and I fell in love with their family and all of the kids, and their home became my safe space. I was there all the time, for days at a time, and especially on the weekends. So that meant that they would inevitably end up dragging me along wherever they were already planning on going. And every Sunday, that meant that they were going to church. Specifically, they were going to an all-black church. Every week that I went, myself and her mom were the only white people there. And I loved going to church with them every week. I loved the people, I loved the culture, I loved the faith traditions, I loved the way that they were so kind and accepting. They never made me feel weird for being there. They just greeted me every week with a big "Hello, Sister Sarah," and a hug. Growing up, there's nothing that could have given me a more rich experience than being surrounded by diversity and by different culture than mine. It made me better. And in that particular situation, it was extremely beneficial for me to experience what it felt like to be the minority in the room. So many people choose to hate simply because they've never been exposed to the richness and the beauty of others' cultures. To me, there's nothing more incredible than learning from and embracing one another. Our diversity is beautiful, it makes us better, and it's nothing to fear.
This is actually a really good question. In fourth grade, I moved into a new neighborhood basically, and at the same time, another family was moving into a house, couple houses down and around the corner, and they ended up being my second family. Like, they accepted me even though I was some white kid, right? This black family moved in, I was some white kid with glasses, chubby, kind of nerdy, right? Moved in, and they accepted me into their home, fed me, had me over for sleepovers, loved me just like their own children, right? And I mean, my best friend and his two older brothers, who are my brothers too. His mom's basically my mom, his aunt's my aunt, his grandma my grandma, right? You know, his cousins are my cousins, right? And there's just different love there. And so I'm so very thankful that I met them. And so ever since fourth grade, I've, grew up with them, went to school with them my whole life, and been very close to them. They are my family. And so one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about what I speak about is because when people you love and people you care about go through things on a daily basis and their life is in more danger because they color their skin, it pisses me off. It makes me passionate to do everything I can to change the world.
I was the only white boy there. They made fun of me, I'm white boy. I'm young. I look like Opie. They had a lot of jokes to tell. So,
were you a little guy or were you a big dude at that time as well?
I was always decent size because my daddy had me working at a young age. My pops, he taught me how to build houses and roof. So I was into that type of field, and so I'd always had a little size on me, shoulder wise, but I was skinny.
Did it put you into the perspective of having to defend yourself more aggressively because you were the only white kid or one of the only white kids?
100% for sure. Yeah, when you're a white boy at the school, they didn't want to accept you at that time. You know what I mean? Especially everything going on in the world at the time it was happening. And by me coming out of into a whole new world, I had to make sure that early on my daddy had me watching a lot of John Wayne flicks and mafia movies.
Okay.
So I kind of I don't know. I didn't want to work. I wanted to join a gang. Kind of weird to say, but I was kind of attracted to that lifestyle at an early age.
Why see that? I say you rooted in it.
I'm the only white person in my family.
Oh, you the only white person in your family?
Yeah. I got 3 black brothers. Black pops.
You got 3 black brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that like?
You get judged a lot when you grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? They want to test you. They want to try you.
You was raised in a dope hole, huh?
Yeah, they wonder why these YCs get so hot.
So I need to tell you guys something, Rora. So today I got, okay, hold on, I'm gonna open it in a second. I got an email today and it said that Maymay is officially
adopted.
Yep.
Yay! Maybe you're adopted. You're a Dorsey now. Now your name is Addison Maylin Dorsey.
One of the most powerful comments under the video said something that really stood out. God bless all the men and women who have a big enough heart to give a home to children who need one. That captures the heart of these stories. Because adoption isn't easy. Foster care isn't easy. Taking in a child who needs stability isn't easy. It requires sacrifice, time, patience, financial commitment, and above all, unconditional love. The people featured weren't celebrating race as much as they were celebrating the people who stepped up when someone else couldn't. Another comment caught my attention. Someone wrote that these children weren't taught to hate themselves or their culture. Instead, they were taught about kindness, family, and making the world better. Whether you agree with every part of that statement or not, it's worth reflecting on what these interviews actually showed. Most of these adults weren't talking about politics. They weren't making speeches. They weren't trying to win arguments online. They were simply sharing memories. Memories of church, family dinners, birthday parties, graduations, being encouraged to succeed, feeling protected, feeling wanted. Those aren't political values. Those are human values. Now, does this mean every family is perfect? Of course not. Every community has strengths and struggles. Every household is different. But what these stories challenge is the idea that love can somehow be predicted by skin color. Again and again, the interviews reminded viewers that stereotypes often fall apart when people actually get to know one another. One man became emotional, describing the racism directed toward the family he loved. He wasn't speaking as an outsider, he was speaking as a son, as a brother, as someone whose family happened to look different from him. That changes your perspective. It reminds you that racism isn't an abstract debate. It affects real people, real parents, real children, real families. Another thing worth mentioning is how quickly people online try to divide everything into opposing teams. But these stories don't fit neatly into those categories. They're messy, they're personal, they're deeply human. And maybe that's why they've connected with millions of viewers. Because in a time when social media often rewards outrage, this video rewarded empathy. It reminded people that the strongest families aren't always the ones who look alike. They're often the ones who refuse to give up on each other. Perhaps the biggest takeaway is this: children learn what they're shown. If they're shown compassion, they're more likely to practice compassion. If they're shown respect, they're more likely to respect others. If they're shown unconditional love, they'll often carry that lesson for the rest of their lives. That's something bigger than politics. It's something bigger than race. It's about the kind of society we want to build. At the end of the day, this wasn't really a story about white children or black families. It was a story about people choosing love over prejudice, about parents opening their homes, about children finding belonging, about communities proving that kindness doesn't have a color. Maybe that's why these stories have resonated with so many viewers. They remind us that stereotypes rarely survive real relationships. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Did any of these stories surprise you? What message do you think they send about family, community, and overcoming prejudice? Share your perspective in the comments below, but let's keep the conversation respectful. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more conversations about the stories shaping our world. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.